you're standing right now is where Nichols Arena was. And when they built the Pepsi Center, the Nuggets and the Avalanche moved over there, they knocked down McNichols, and they built this stadium here. Now, this floor is part of the floor that the Nuggets played on in McNichols Arena. Just to give you a little nostalgia, so you don't fall asleep on me since you're probably at lunch. But anyways, the construction of this stadium started in August of 1999, was completed in August of 2001, on time and under budget. Now, when's the last time you heard that? The last time you're gonna hear it too, because it just doesn't seem to happen anymore. The first game that was played in here is that top picture. It was a Monday night game, and it was played against the New York Giants. The middle picture is the old and new together. So you can see the old stadium was pretty close to this one, and they kept it up for a full year while they made sure everything was operating in here good, so they couldn't knock it down, and all of a sudden they needed a stadium. About the bottom picture there is opening day game for the Rockies in 1993 in the old Mile High Stadium. The stadium held 80,000 people for baseball, and over 80,000 people came to the game. They played 2 seasons in that stadium before they moved over to Coors Field. Okay. How many of you are from out of town? Okay, that's unusual. How many of you are not Bronco fans? Take the force tip this way. Where are you from?
Dallas.
Dallas, and you're Bronco fans?
Yes, he is.
Oh, what are you? Okay, ready to go? Okay, let's go through the double doors and we'll start the tour.
So I thought I needed.
Normally we go into one of these suites here, but they got them all blocked off because of this thing here. They had a, I don't know who they really are. It's some of you might know who they are. It's a Meow Foo or something like that. It's an artist group. They're going to open up a museum here in Denver, and they were hiring, and they're going to be back here tomorrow and the next day, and they're going to be hiring for that also. I have no idea what they do. I mean, all of them that were here had all these weird costumes and everything. Just it's an artist group, so I don't know what kind of artistry it is or whatever. But so they blocked all those suites off to us, so we have to go down one a little further. Okay, let's go down this way. Okay, this big blue wall here, this is the owner's suite. It's right on the 50-yard line. It's the largest one in the stadium. Pat Bowlen owned the team, and of course he passed away a few years ago. And he had Alzheimer's for several years before that. Well, before he lost everything upstairs, he formed a trust. Joe Wallace, the president of the Broncos, a couple lawyers, and they were making all the decisions for the team when he was incapacitated. But when he passed away, he had been married twice. He had 3 daughters and 2 sons from those 2 marriages. And ever since, they've been fighting over who's going to make the decisions for the team and this, that, and the other. And it was in the courts, still in the courts, but they had canceled the court date. And I just heard this on TV yesterday. And here they're thinking about selling the team. So they might have a different owner by the time the season starts. We'll see how that works out. We were told that it was going well and it would be settled by the beginning of the season, and evidently something changed that. But anyways, unfortunately for us, they never let us go in there on the tour because it's really nice in there. Plus seats, plus carpet. Now, I have been in there. I wasn't invited. Surprise, huh? The door was open, they were cleaning it, and so I thought I'd go in there and see if they'd throw me out. They didn't, so I stayed. Very nice. This whole wall down at this end is a fireplace with the Bronco logo over it, and Italian marble. There's a big kitchen in there with chefs making meals at game time. There's no elevator in there. You could be down on the field behind the Bronco bench within minutes, if not seconds. You have to pay for that. And I'll tell you more about that when we get to amounts of money the stadium costs and things like that. Right now, we're going to go into one of the executive suites. We have several different types of suites. We have 142 executive suites, and they cost between $100,000 to $300,000 per season. You have to sign at least a 5-year lease. They're known as corporation names on all the doors. So it's all business right off, actually. But we also have 7 party suites, and they're sold on a 1-game basis. They start at $25,000 for 1 game. You'll see one of them on the tour. Now we have some special suites like the 5280 room. We have a couple others that are they're named differently, but they're leased out the same way. Leased out per seat. 5280 room is $11,500 per seat per season. You have to take at least 2, and you have to sign at least a 5-year lease for those 2 seats. Okay. Food and drink is included in all the suites, but it's a set menu. If you want something off that set menu, you have to pay extra for that. Okay, we're going to go into one of the executive suites. You'll see smaller streets and see they see a lot less people, less amenities. Got a small bar area in there. They only have 1 restroom in there. Here you have your own big bar, your own bartenders. You have 2 restrooms. This is one of the larger ones. Now the way they determine what they charge for a suite is how many people it seats, how many amenities you have, and where it is in the stadium. That's how we arrive at between $100,000 to $300,000 per season. All the windows open up in all the suites. Okay, so you're not isolated from the rest of the stadium. You can be just as obnoxious as everybody else out there. I said you could, but you don't have to be. The windows do close, so if the weather gets bad, you can close the windows also. Now, if you notice, there's another piece of glass on the other side of the window behind me, and there's one right over there. It's right where the stairs are. So if you're walking down the stairs, you got a beer and a hot dog in your hand, the window's open, you trip and fall, there's a seat right below us here. So they get a little upset when they get hit in the head with a beer and a hot dog in the middle of the game. So that's what that piece of glass is for, to stop you and your food from going out on top of them. Okay, now there are exceptions to every rule. You got Patriot fans down there, you're not getting along with them. You're aiming at them with your beer and your hot dog. This piece of glass isn't going to do anything for you. It's close to worthless. Okay, now this stadium holds 76,125. Yeah, 2 more seats in the old stadium. It held 123 there. Now there's several reasons for it. One is they wanted to keep this stadium in the same configuration as the old stadium. So they kept it in a horseshoe. Now, not the design. Design obviously is more modern and a lot different, but the configuration. So it's still in a horseshoe. The south stands are open. They could have put a couple more decks on there, made it in a bowl like Kansas City has, but they opted not to do that. Now also, another reason that there's only 2 more seats is there's 125 ADA seats in this stadium, American Disabilities Act. That's the seats with the big space behind it. The old stadium had 25. Wheelchair person can sit behind the seat, the companion can sit in the front. You have plug-ins for electric blankets so they can stay warm. And so that took up a lot of room also. Okay. Has anybody attended a game in this stadium? No. Okay, well that 5th level up there, it's a 34% grade. You can't make it any steeper than that by law. It's as steep as you can make it. And I'll remind you when we're down by the field to look up because it looks a lot steeper from down there than it does from here. And the people that sit up there, they say everybody in front of them is down low. So they say they can see the game well. They feel like they're right over the game. They can see it well. But eventually you got to come down. And when you're walking down those stairs, it gives you the feeling you're going to go right out onto the field. Now, if you've had a couple of drinks too many, which none of us ever have, or there's snow and ice on the stairs, you're hanging onto that railing when you're coming down, because it does give you that feeling. Now, we haven't lost anybody out of there yet. I have to say yet, because we have had some close calls. Most of those were due to those extra drinks I was talking about. Okay, now the name's at the bottom of that 5th level. That's called the Ring of Fame here. Most stadiums have something like that. They might call it something different, but basically they're all the same thing. Ex-players have to be retired at least 5 years here to be eligible to go up there, except for one. I never have to tell anybody who that one was. John Elway retired, his name went up there right away. Now, there are 2 coaches and 2 owners up there. Pat Bowen's right above us here. And if you look across the way, you see Champ Bailey's name there. You'll see an insignia after his name. There's several more, Terrell Davis, John Elway, Don Zimmerman, and Shannon Sharp. Mr. Bolin has one after his name. That's the Hall of Fame insignia in Canton, Ohio. Okay, so those people are in the Hall of Fame. Now, there's going to be 2 more names going up there this fall. One's a coach, Mike Shanahan, and he'll go up there in September, and Peyton Manning's going up in October. Any questions yet? Feel free to ask a question.
We're on this level with the suites. It looks like there's more up there as well?
All the suites are on level 2 and 4. Okay, but on level 4, there's a lot more up there. Also, there's the media area, and the Budweiser Champions Club is over here at the north end. You'll see all of that as we go up there. But that whole side over the other side is all suites. So all the suites are on 2 and 4. This is a 5-level stadium, and we'll see 4 of the 5 levels. Okay, any other questions? Okay, the orange seats down there. That's pretty Bronco orange, and runs over the Broncos colors, orange and blue. That's not the reason they're orange. They have a specific reason to it. When they built this stadium, the Broncos owner, Pat Bowen, he was a big soccer fan also. He wanted to make sure you could have World Cup soccer in this stadium. And it's played on a bigger field. So those seats are removable seats. They come out, they can expand the field, and they can have World Cup soccer here. Now that hasn't happened yet. Because all the soccer we've had here, we just had an international tournament here a few weeks ago, all play on this size field. The World Cup soccer is played on a bigger field. Now, as I'm talking to you, they are negotiating for games in the year 2026. Now, if we get some of those games, we'll finally see those orange seats come out, because we've never seen them come out before. They could be rusted in for all we know. Now, the field down there is 100% Kentucky bluegrass. That wasn't the original field. When we built the stadium, the original field was the first one like in the NFL. It was a hybrid field. Hybrid meaning 2, so it's Kentucky bluegrass, just like you see down there. And that grass is growing in Cuhh-lorado here in Fort Morgan, Fort Collins. Comes in rolls, they go out, stamp it down, water, and fertilize it. Well, the original one was a hybrid field, so there was a Kentucky bluegrass like you see down there, and then 17 million of these plastic plugs were sewed into the field. Okay, and what happened there was the roots of the grass would wrap around the plastic. Plastic would hold the grass in, the grass would hold the plastic in. So it made for a more durable field, but it was very expensive too. Now they expected to only have sporting events on the field. Colorado Rapids played here for 5 years before they moved up to their own stadium north of the city. Colorado Outlaws played here, the lacrosse team. But right around 2010, they decided, well, we're losing way too much money. We got to have more events in the stadium. So they wanted to have a monster truck event and a motocross event, concerts with big stages. I mean, Rolling Stones were here, and their stage took up that whole field, and it took up a week and a half to put it up and a week to take it down. And it killed the grass. All that stuff kills grass. So they decided they just put the Kentucky bluegrass in, and they didn't replace this because it was too expensive to just keep on replacing. Okay, now underneath the field originally there was 23 miles of heating pipe. So when they replaced the grass, they replaced that heating system also. And this is what the new heating system looks like. The old one was water heated. this is just a small section of this, and they have chemicals in these pipes. And they heat up the chemicals, and it keeps the field at 68 degrees all winter. Now, it's less expensive and more efficient to operate with this system. Okay, so they put it in when they change the grass. Now, underneath the heating system, there's also a vacuum system. Sucks all the moisture off of the field. It'll handle up to 5 inches of water an hour. Pumps it into the Denver reclamation system. Now, what that system does, it makes for a flat field. All outdoor fields have to have a crown in the middle, and so they can drain water off of one side or the other. This has got a 1% grade. You can hardly even notice it. Players love this. You look across the field, you see a whole player. Some have such a big crown, you can only see half a player. Now, also, you're not running up and down. They get better footing. They get less tired. They have less injuries. Even the visiting teams that come here love playing on the field, for all the reasons I just mentioned. Now, they don't like the stadium, and they definitely don't like the people in the stadium. They do like playing on the field. Right? Do you have any questions? Okay, now we have to leave.
The accidents here in the district. One of them near Pennsylvania. In that crash, 20-year-old Michael Butler driving home from work.
One on the east side, we're on the west side. They're identical. There's absolutely nothing different between the two. Seats are on the outside, from 10-yard line to 10-yard line. We just put brand new seats in on both sides of the stadium on the third level. They're a lot plusher and more comfortable. You can come in here 3 hours before a game, and you can stay an hour after the game. And there's 4 big screen TVs, one here, 2 in the middle, one down at the other end. They can break those screens down to 28 different screens. You can watch every game that's being played in the NFL. You come in here. You have 2 full-service bars here. You got a bar down at the other end. You got one down at this end. You got upscale concession stands throughout. And these seats cost between $1,000 to $3,000 per game per seat. And you get to use this area in here, so you can sit outside or be in here with turning on. Okay. Now, every room in this stadium can be rented out. And the only thing you can't rent is the bowling suite and the Broncos locker. It can be rented out for just about everything you can possibly think of. We have a lot of weddings, graduations, proms, business meetings, seminars, Halloween, Christmas, New Year's Eve parties. Just the list goes on and on and on. And not only can you rent the inside, but you can rent the outside also. The parking lots. A couple of weeks ago, we had Porsches running around the parking lots. The week before that, we had Teslas running around the parking lot. What a contrast that was. Stock show, tractor trailer company will rent spots out there. They'll park their tractor trailers out there. During the stock show, they will pick up the order and pick up afterwards. So everything is runnable. Everything. Except those 2 things, the bowling suite and practice on. Okay, any questions? Okay, let's go up to the 4th level. We fit on the elevator.
Does this connect over to the other side?
No, well, no.
You can't walk around
Not,
the other side.
not on the 3rd level.
Okay.
Okay, now, there's an opening over here so you can get to the south stands, and you could possibly get over to the other side that way, but it's not an open,
Right. Okay.
open one circle.
Life is what I dream. It's what you make it always.
Okay, the media area is huge. Still one of the largest in the NFL. All the Bronco booths are this way. Not all, I'm sorry. There's a couple this way too, but most of the Bronco booths are this way. They have a video booth, and they have the coaches booth, and they have KOA radio booth, and they have a Spanish-speaking radio station, And then all the way down at the end, there's an IT room down there. And it's just a bank of television monitors. And the people in there, they're telling the people what shot is going to be shot next, what's going to be on what TV shot, this, that, and the other thing. And they coordinate with the production area, which is down on the field level. You'll see that area when we get down there. I'll tell you about that. Okay, now the visiting team, they have the same thing going this way. But they have a video room, a coach's booth, and then the radio station booth, and then the NFL replay booth is down this way, but they don't use that anymore. That's empty at game time, because all the decisions are made in New York now. Then you have the two Bronco booths, which when they pan up here with the TV cameras, you see John Elway, Joe Ellis, a bunch of other guys in suits and ties. That's where they are. They're not in the suite. They're up here together in those two booths. Then you have an NFL official booth and an NFL staff room. Okay, this is the TV broadcasting booth. This is where the announcers for CBS, NBC, ABC, ESPN, and Fox would be. Okay, now it doesn't look like much, mainly because we used to put a curtain up the whole length of the room and have the logo of the station all over it, and they'd sit in front of that. Well, now they want to decorate it the way they want it. So when they pan in here, it doesn't look like this. When you see it on TV, and you see the announcers in there, you'll say, boy, that doesn't look like the room I was in, because it doesn't look like anything right now.
So they bring all of their own stuff.
Bring all their own stuff in. Okay, let's go. The windows are always open. They always want them open. They want to see how the fans are reacting to the game, how the weather's affecting the game. The walls are carpeted for echo effects, so you don't get echoes off of the walls. The ceiling's painted black, the pipes and the wires and everything, so you can't notice that. And they would decorate this the way they want it. They would have their own logos of their station, whatever they want, the seating, everything. Okay. Now we're going to be walking down to where the writing press is, and it's a huge area. Now going down the hallway here, we'll see all the visitors' booths, the NFL replay booth that they don't use anymore, and the rest of them that I said. And we'll be walking to the writing press area. It's huge. Okay. This is a huge area. They can have up to 300 writers in here for a regular season game. They can get up to 600 writers in here for a playoff game. And now, Bronco's press would be closest to the 50-yard line, then the visiting press, then everybody else. Okay, now, the windows behind you, that's actually a cafeteria in there. I mean, they got a lot of stuff stored in there ever since the pandemic, but that would be a cafeteria at game time. It would be catered by Epicurean Catering, which does the catering for the club levels and the suites. And so all the food and drink would be free to the press up here. And they have their own restrooms up here also, and this is a huge area. We're gonna walk the length of it. When we get down to the other end, while we were gone, they had put two booths in. And both of them have a placard on them saying Guest Services Command Center. I had no idea Guest Services even needed a command center, let alone two of them. But you pass those two, and there is a command center down at the end. It's a small booth, it's got a little window on it if you want to look in. About 6 people sitting in there. And anything goes wrong in the stadium, anything. A broken seat, a light bulb out, something wrong with the scoreboard, a fight in the stands. They call up there first, and they can send the right person out to the right area. Okay, so we're going to walk the length of this. You'll see some nice pictures along the way also. was they knocked it down, made the parking lot. And the old stadium came all the way up to the inside ranch, fence down there, so it was pretty close to here. Now, about 3 years after they paved the parking lot, they put that stadium in there as a monument to the old Mile High Stadium. Now, underneath the sign, there's a brass statue of the Barrel Man, if anybody can remember the Barrel Man. That's all he wore was a barrel. An orange barrel with an orange cowboy hat with the Bronco logo on it, and that's all he wore was the barrel, regardless of the weather. 0, 100 degrees, he had just that barrel. And he was a super fan all the way from the very first game. Okay, now, they normally have the doors open on that stadium, and after the tour you could go down and go inside the stadium. But I've seen people down there, and I haven't seen anybody go in there today. They were in there Saturday and Friday, but they must not have opened the door today. But if you want to take a chance to go down there and see, at the end of the tour, you can do so. Now, if you do, there's a concrete walking path over here going through the trees. And in those trees, there's 3 footballs. You can see the bases, but with the leaves on the trees, you can't see the footballs. They stand 8 feet tall, and all 3 of them have something to do with Colorado. First one is mountain climbers climbing up the football instead of a mountain. One in the middle, there's a cowboy and a bucking Bronco instead of a horses on a football. And the third one, there's miners pushing an ore cart up a hill. It's like condos or apartment buildings. And they keep getting higher, and it looks like they're going to be going higher. And eventually you won't be able to see that building on the other side. That round building, it's a round building, and it was a hotel. It was every chain you could think of: Holiday Inn, Ramada Inn, Red Lion Inn, Red Robin Inn. And at the top there was a restaurant. And that used to rotate, it would turn. So you could go up there and have lunch or dinner and watch the game free. Well, half the game, the other half you were watching the highway, but after all, it was free. Now, a developer bought it, and he calls it Turntable Studios because he put studio apartments in there. And at the top there, it's got a VIP lounge and an athletic club, and it doesn't look good. Now, we're going to be going into the Bud Light Champions Cup next, okay? Okay, amusement park is 6 Flags Villages, and the red building with all the little windows, that's the aquarium, that's open to the public also. And also the 2 brown and green balls there, that's a children's museum, that's open to the public also. Although I don't know whether, in fact I'm pretty sure the children's museum isn't open this weekend. Okay. Now 5280 room, that number should be familiar to you. Anybody? 1 mile high, 5,280 feet. You are exactly 1 mile above sea level here. This is the mile high designation. This is one of those special suites. I told you that they lease the seats per seat per season. 11,500 per seat per season. You have to take at least 2, and you have to sign a lease for at least 5 years for those 2 seats. Okay, let's go in here. You can sit down for a couple of minutes. This is the 5280 room. These are leased individually. Like I say, you have to take at least 2. And the answer is wrong. They've got a couple others that are different names. It's basically the same thing, at least out on the seat. And if you look to your left, that's where the party suites start. And the doors open in one, so when we leave here, we'll go in one of those briefly, and you can take a look at that. Right. Now, from here, you can see the horse on top of the jumbotron. Okay, and they brought him over from the old stadium. 27 feet high, 1,600 pounds, held on by 3 bolts. One on each hoof, one on the tail. Okay, and he's designed after a famous horse. If I can find a picture that it's got of him here. Here it is. Gee, you think I'd be better organized than this. Yeah, there somewhere. I showed it to the last group. Yeah. Stole the picture of the horse anyway. I don't know about the horse. There it is. Yeah, it's designed after a famous horse. Roy Rogers' horse Trigger. Okay? And they actually signed a contract with Roy Rogers at the time that they would not name the horse Trigger. So they held a contest to name the horse. And the winner was Bucky. The winner's got 2 free season tickets for life. So that horse is known as Bucky. Any questions?
I got one.
Yes.
What happens when that person dies? What happens to his tickets?
I don't know. I don't know if there was a...
Is there like a clause where they can pass it on?
That I don't know.
Good question.
Yeah, good question, but I'm not the one that won it, so I have no idea.
Where are their seats at?
What's that?
Where are those seats at? Are they like, you know where those?
Oh, I don't know where the 2 seats, so. I have
It was
no
probably
idea.
a long time ago.
Yeah, well, it was. It was in the other stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a walk into the party suite.
So I thought I needed. So I thought I needed.
They hold it to 500 members. You have to have a seat upstairs, and see, it used to cost $2,000 to join, but they dropped that off quite a few years ago, and it still costs $750 a year to belong to it. Now you can come down here 3 hours before the game, you can come down and stay an hour after the game. You can come down anytime during the game, halftime, bad weather. You just want to come down here and have something to eat and drink, nice plush restaurant and bar in there. The only way you can watch the game in there is on TV. There are no windows or doors.
You make
This is called the inner ring. It's all the way around the field. Pretty busy at game time. Propane, electric cars running up and down here. Now, going this way, you're going north. And all the kitchens are that way. Epicurean Catering, Center Plate, a couple other small caterers. All their kitchens are this way. And then all the way down at the end, you have the groundskeepers and security. And I have 4 jails there. So if you're drinking and fighting and you're acting up and everything, that's where you go. And they don't have TVs in those jails, so you can't watch the end of the game. Now, if you look down here about 100 feet on the left, you'll see a lighted marquee area there. That's the Disabled Athletes Association. They have their national offices here. I don't know whether you noticed those kayaks and canoes in the parking lot where we were looking out over it where the mini stadium was. They store all their equipment here. Usually they have it inside the stadium, but they got it outside because it's ready to go to whatever events they're going to have. They store their canoes, their kayaks, their skis, everything is stored in the stadium. And now this way is all the locker rooms. One is right behind you, that's the cheerleaders' locker room. And the Broncos' locker room is the furthest one down. And because they don't let anybody in there, and they won't let anybody use it, they have to have two visitors' locker rooms. So when they have a soccer tournament, they have a home team and a visitors' locker room. The Rapids and the soccer team and the Outlaws and the lacrosse team, they use the smaller of the two as their home locker room. And the larger one, the NFL uses as the visitors' locker room. That's the one we're going to go into. Now, the fifth locker room is the officials' locker room. There's also 8 beer rooms in this stadium, 4 in this level, 4 in level 5. Pumps all the draft beer to all the concession stands. Beer is a big, big business, obviously. The main draft beers here are Coors, Budweiser, and Millers. They sell 28 different craft beers. They refrigerate it all the way up and all the way down, so they don't have to change it out after every game. They don't have to clean up the lines for every game. And so every third or fourth week they change it out and clean up the lines. Okay, let's take a walk down to where the officials are. Locker room, and the chain crew gets their locker room is right next to them. And now, to my knowledge, the last I heard, the NFL has 3 women referees. So if they're here, they would use the other visitors' locker room to change, and because the Rapids and the Outlaws don't play here anymore. Now there's a beer room right very conveniently right across the officials' locker room. Take that for what it's worth. And you'll love this one. They've got Braille on their door. That is inappropriate. Of course, this is a public building, and by law you have to have Braille on all the doors. But we like to point out that it looks like it's been used a lot. They might have needed it to find their locker room. Hey, anybody want to see the inside of the beer room? Now, if this was just before an NFL game, this would be just strictly loaded with carrots. Right now, they have all kinds of canned beer, bottled beer. That's what people are cool. You know, yeah. Just don't take anything out.
Anyway? Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh my God! Wow!
This is the NFL visitors' locker room, and they have this nice big welcome sign here for them. And it really isn't a welcome sign.
It's a reminder.
Okay, so let me give you guys a bit of background as to why that number is on the wall, and that number is basically to remind other football players that come and play the Broncos that the air is very thin, you are very high up in the air, and if you start feeling dizzy, all kinds of stuff, that's why, because that number is exactly how high you are, the elevation. When I went to Colorado, I wasn't even that high up and I was already having trouble breathing because that is how thin the air is. So that's why.
Yeah, this is the last thing the visiting team sees as they're going out to the field. They want to remind them that it's a mile high. The air is thin. You're not going to breathe too well. Have a nice day. It's all up there. You just can't see it. Now, they remind them several more times, so we'll see that as we move along. But we're going to be going in here, so the first door on the left, The head coach gets his own locker room. He's got his own restroom in there. He's got a TV, a desk. I'm gonna put a lounge chair in there for him if he wants it. The next door to the left, the assistant coaches, they get their own locker room. They have these little small thin lockers. They have their own restroom in there. We'll go into the training room before we leave, so you don't have to go in there before. And watch your step as you go in, because they got the post out of here also, and they got one of those little stumps sticking up so it don't trip. Because of the pandemic, they've blocked off every other locker, so they'll have to open those up before the season starts. But they also put partitions in between, so they had individual lockers for that soccer tournament that they had. Now there's these 4 lockers over here. There's 4 of them. There's 2 blocked off and 2 open. Those are for the quarterbacks. Because it's closest to the coaches want to know where the quarterback's up. Okay, now there's curtains there for the media. Media cannot go beyond those curtains for obvious reasons. The showers and the restrooms are in there for the players. The NFL made the Broncos change this carpet out back a few years ago. Because the Broncos, when they built the stadium, the original carpet that they put in here started to wear out. About 2 years before the NFL made them put this in, they had replaced the carpet. But they put the same pattern in that they originally put in. That pattern, when you looked at it, it made you dizzy. So some of the teams were complaining that their players were getting dizzy. The Broncos were telling them, well, your players are dizzy. But the NFL wasn't buying that, so they made them take that out and put this carpet in here with the big NFL logo in the middle.
So it's intentionally printed, only in here, like in the.
Yes, intentionally, yeah. And it did, when you stared at it, it made you dizzy. And now, the other picture of the Broncos, locker room, the picture doesn't do it justice because it's a lot bigger than the picture shows. Right, but you can see the plush carpeting with the Bronco logo in the middle of it and everything. So it's actually about twice the size of this. Okay, now their training room, they have their whirlpools in their training room. This is what they look like. Okay, they're nice and modern. Players walk down into them. Holds more than one player. One is hot, one is cold. You'll see what the visiting team gets when we go into the training room here. And that's where we're going to go, to the training room here.
What you make it, always try to give, don't ever take it, I just wanna dream, it's what you make it, always try to give, don't ever take it, life has its music, life has its song.
And so the Broncos got their whirlpools. This is what the visiting team gets. It looks like something out of the 1920s. It's like a couple of horse troughs. One is hot, one is cold. Just one player. They have to climb up in there to get in there. Now, they have those little 3/4 horse motors that they got out of order on there. I don't know if they are out of order or not. But they twirl the water around and so they can call it a whirlpool. Now these are taping tables. The Broncos have the exact same taping tables. Player sits up here, they fill the shelves up with tape. Tape a player pretty fast in the NFL. They're experts at that. Now the massage tables on the other side, Broncos have the exact same massage tables. There's an x-ray light on the wall over here, and the Broncos have an x-ray room. They let the visiting team use it. Anything more serious than that, they're on the way to the hospital for MRIs, things like that. Okay, have you got any questions about anything you've seen so far? Okay, we're going to be going out to the field the way the visiting team go. canopy in there, that's actually the visitors' canopy. They would roll that out to the visitors and so they don't throw stuff on them as they go out off the field. The Broncos would have a big roll up with the Bronco logo that they run through. They would also take these horse heads and roll them out there, and they'd run it between the horse heads. Now they used to fire off fireworks while they were running out there also. They got away from that about 4 or 5 years ago because of all the fires they had in the West. They wanted to get away from the pyrotechnics, so they have these smokestacks that just blow smoke up there. And now the Broncos are never here. The only time they're here is to play a game. They don't practice here. They don't keep anything here. The practice field is 15 miles south of the city called Dove Valley. There's an indoor field, there's an outdoor field. They have a training room, they have weight rooms, they have trainers and whirlpools. Executive offices are all down there. The Super Bowl trophies are down there. So they keep nothing here. The day before a game, the truck will come down this ramp back up to that roll-up window. We'll pass the uniforms across. We'll put them into the lot. Now you see these autograph and plus prohibited signs here. They would be on the outside at game time. Because the Broncos probably get to the top of this ramp and walk in. So they don't want them bugging them for autographs as they're coming in here. They want to think that football is the game. But if the player wants to
So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I know that this vlog took a little time to come out, actually a lot of time to come out, but that's just because I've been trying to really work on this vlog and really get everything for you, just so that way it's not boring. But yeah, I really enjoyed taking this tour. Again, never been to Colorado. Never been to the Bronco Stadium. I'm not a Broncos fan, but when I visited this stadium, I was really blown away by it because it's such an amazing stadium. On the way back from Colorado, we actually did try to visit the Raiders Stadium, but for some reason, I don't remember what it was, we couldn't do it. I think it was, maybe it was too expensive, I don't know. But what I do remember is that the Raiders Stadium does not have field access like the Bronco Stadium does. Why? I don't know. So we kind of passed on taking that tour, but I really do want to take it at some point in my life. I'm not a big Raiders fan, I'm a Rams fan, but when I was a kid, I was a Raiders fan, so that's why I still want to take it. But again, with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this vlog. Make sure to go like, share this video, comment, and also subscribe and turn on that post notification so that you don't miss a single video that I post up. We're almost at 400 subscribers, so please make sure to share. Tell your tias, your tios, your primas, your mom, your dad, your abuelita, the lady that lives down the street. Tell everybody, please. I'm on the road to 1K subscribers, so please help me out. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure that you subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.